This is a very common objection, especially with people that you will see in the final expense market who are in their 50s and 60s. Oftentimes they're still working and they carry insurance on their job, and to no fault of their own, they've just never really thought about having insurance off of their job until this point. Welcome to the Final Expense Sales Academy, the hub for mastering the art of final expense life insurance sales. If you're looking to become a pro in the final expense industry, you're in the right place. My name is Kyle Williams, and I'm your host to go through the ins and outs of the final expense business, from tips to tricks to industry insights. We cover everything you need to close deals with confidence, provide true value to your clients, and become a better insurance agent. So hit that subscribe button. Let's get started on elevating your sales game one video at a time. Hey guys, in this episode, we are going to talk about how to overcome the objection of I already have insurance on my job. This is a very common objection, especially with people that you will see in the final expense market who are in their 50s and 60s. Oftentimes they're still working and they carry insurance on their job, and to no fault of their own, they've just never really thought about having insurance off of their job until this point. We're usually faced with this objection in two different places, usually at the door on first contact, or you'll face it on the back end during the pitch or close part of the sale. So how to overcome this objection is usually the same in both places, although it is much easier to overcome this objection on the pitch or close versus than at the door. So I will break down how to overcome the objection in both places, so then that way you can know how to overcome it when you get faced with that situation in the coming weeks. So first, let's break down how to overcome this objection at the door. So you do your door approach, and the first thing they come back and say is, well, I already have insurance on my job. I don't need it. So the very first thing that you say is, great, you should always have insurance on your job. Where do you work at? Ask them where they work. Keep the conversation very casual. And here, what we were looking for is to see if they work for a government or union-based job, because typically those positions, they retire off with the insurance. Most of the time, people don't work at those type of places. Now, once they've told you where they work at, you just respond with, that is a great place to work at. I've heard great things. Have they ever told you what happens once you leave your job with your life insurance? They're usually going to either say yes or look confused, because they know or they don't know. Now, what I do is I reiterate a point. I tell them it is always recommended that anybody over the age of 50 carry their own life insurance policy, so that way they can carry it on for the rest of their life. This is separate from your job insurance, and it protects your family for the rest of your life. You should always take the job insurance because it is practically free, but this protects you for the rest of your life. Now, let's see what you can be approved for. Where can we sit down? That is a very simple script of how you can overcome that objection at the door or on first contact. If that doesn't work, you can just simply ask them how much do they know that they're currently covered for on their job. See if they tell you, and then you can ask them, well, is that enough coverage? And you can simply ask them, and it's a simple yes or no question. And you can also ask them, well, why did you choose that amount? And a lot of times, well, that's all that was offered. Well, do you feel like you need more coverage? And it's just all you're trying to do is trying to create a way to get in the door to try to present to the individual. We're not trying to sell them at the door or sell them on first contact. We're just trying to ask questions to provoke their mind, because nobody thinks about life insurance on a daily basis. So we're trying to bring it top of mind and make them think through it critically. How much do I need? Now let's break down how to overcome the objection during the pitch. So you've got in the house, you've done your presentation, you're pitching them, you're trying to close them, and now you're getting hit with objections. So I'm going to take a very similar approach as I did for the door approach. I'm going to say the same things, but it is a little bit easier to overcome this objection at this point because they actually somewhat considered it to let you all the way through the whole process. So I generally like to find out whether or not they're working and whether or not they have insurance on their job during the rapport phase. That's one of the questions that I ask. Are you still working? Are you retired? Do you have insurance on your job? I want to know all that stuff early on, so that way I can input a lot of this stuff into the presentation and build my case. So that way it helps make it easier on the back end. So I'm going to plug in there during my presentation that you should always have insurance on your outside of your job to take care of you, because once you retire or if you lose your job, you are going to lose that insurance. And oftentimes I find out people just like you who enjoy working, they're usually forced to retire generally due to a health condition. And if that happens, then that could affect your eligibility to get a life insurance policy. So it's always good to get it while you're young and while you're healthy, because it's going to lock that rate in. So that way you have a good rate that's cheap and affordable, and also too, you're getting the best coverage. So I'm going to put that into the presentation, so that way it makes the back end easier. So now I've done my pitch and I'm trying to close them, and they're hitting me with the objection of, I already got insurance on my job, let me think about it. So the first thing that I'm going to say is you should absolutely have insurance on your job. It's practically free insurance, and I understand that the price of these plans are different than the price that you have on your job, because it's a completely different type of insurance. Okay, this is a permanent type of insurance. It's going to last your whole life, and you have control over it. Because remember, if you lose your job or you leave your job, you're going to lose that insurance. It's gone forever. So it is best to go ahead and get something while it's cheap and while it's affordable, while we can get you day one coverage, to lock it in. That way you're protected. Because remember, I told you, oftentimes people just like you, they're usually forced to leave due to a health condition. They usually don't retire on their own, and that can affect your eligibility to getting a life insurance policy. So of those three plans, which one of those look the best to you? So that's a quick, easy, proven script of how to overcome the objection at the close. It's really just reiterating the point. So I hope you can take that script. I hope you can apply it this coming week, tomorrow, whenever you're going out to sell, next time you see that objection. I hope it works for you. If you have any questions, comment below. Be sure to subscribe so that way you catch all our latest content. If you receive something valuable here, share it with your friends, share it on social media, and we'll see you in the next episode.